Wait, no longer greatness has arrived. Welcome to the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. I am your host, Joseph, aka Mr. Badbit, and it is here where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest, the greatest in all things PlayStation news. And of course, you can listen to this show wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube at the Trophy Room. If you like what you hear, please consider dropping us a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts, or if you really like us, you could toss us a buck our way over at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. So, with all that said, and with all that out of the way, the greatest co-host, whoever is, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson, how are you, sir?
I forgot my little shtick for a second. I forgot to look and then do the Adam Cole point at myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing well. Played a lot of a game that the community forced me to play, and I'll talk a little bit about it later, but we're gonna save it for the Road to Greatness episode.
Exactly.
But boy, oh boy, what a game!
Kyle, did you know it is Mario's birthday today?
Ooh,
Mario 10, right? Like that's a March 10th, and that's why everybody's like, "Oh, it's Mario."
We have Pi Day coming up in 4 days. I just realized.
Pi Day? Oh,
yeah,
right,
314.
Math. I get
it.
Kyle, I right before the show, getting it all set up and ready, I was thinking back to dinner tonight, right? I was talking to my madre, and she's like, "Oh, it's Mario Day today." My mother, coming up to me, trying to bond with her son, who runs a PlayStation podcast, brings up Nintendo. How dare her? But she's like, "I heard it on the news today."
Wow.
Which blows my mind because of how small this entertainment realm is to us, how it feels so communal, and like how in actuality it is breaking into the mainstream. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It got me thinking though, Kyle. Who is the PlayStation boy that we can bring up, that we can have our own Mario Day to?
It's gotta be Crash, right?
Do you think it's Crash?
I think so. I think in mainstream things, I think a lot of our parents, at least for me back in the day, when they were buying me the games when I was younger, Crash was a thing. And so like they probably remember the commercials of Crash with the megaphone and whatnot.
I'm telling you, I don't know if it's Crash.
Because I wouldn't say Nathan Drake. I don't think any of our parents know who Nathan Drake is. Or Aloy, or anybody, really. I
think the closest one of the PlayStation pantheon that could get to Mario is like a Kratos. But even that's like a Blades of Chaos swing away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's falling from one universe of gods into a whole nother one. That's how far away it is.
Mario versus Kratos. Why does Mario win?
Why does he win?
Why does he win?
He doesn't.
He's gonna eat that star and become all...
Okay, if we're throwing power-ups in here, that's a little... That's not fair.
I mean, listen, I've said
if it's
this
a one-on-one fight,
right?
No chance.
I've said this on Twitter. We have to stop celebrating Mario. The man's an intergalactic murderer.
He really is.
He's gone to galaxies. We don't know why he's jumping on people's like heads and just utterly obliterating them, but he's doing it. Koopas... He's made countless orphans out of those poor little turtles, okay?
Yeah.
There's people don't know, but inside those shells is the Koopa's families. And
they bring their home with them to work. Mm-hmm. And sure, their work might just be walking back and forth in a line, but you know what? They're unionized. They get paid well with benefits.
Yeah.
Don't shame them. They do what they got to do.
But I'm not. But Mario is.
Mario has an issue with him, apparently.
He's a real son of a bitch.
Big business over there. That said,
listen, I would like to just uncover the conspiracy that is Mario. But we have some things to talk about. Some huge things that revolve around, yes, Team Green, but also PlayStation. That is Bethesda officially coming to Xbox, what that may spell for the future of the PlayStation ecosystem. We're going to be talking about possibly a Resistance revival. What the heck is Naughty Dog working on? Anti-cheat technology landing on the PlayStation 5 and so much more. But before we get into all of that, I want to thank our amazing patrons over at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. We say it each and every week. It is no joke. The reason why we've gotten such an awesome facelift this year, the reason why our mics sound so great is because 100% of that is because of you guys out there of supporting us. Everything is funded by Patreon. So if you ever got you through a long car ride, a tough day at work, whatever the case may be, it really does help us out if you can consider dropping a buck our way over at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. I want to thank our platinum producer, Todd Burowitz and Too Soon. I want to thank our gold members, Chaotic Monkey, Gavin Godfrey, Griffin West, Jose Jimenez, Jedi Master Ren. Our silver plus members, Hyde Indoors, Marcus O'Neill. Oh, it's just Ray. JB the Purple Monkey, Jadis Von Metal, Tim Olf, and Justin Rodriguez. Thank you all so much for supporting us the way you do. And this week we had the WandaVision recap, just exclusive for patron viewers. This week we're going to do like an Iron Man one, right, Kyle?
Yeah. We've been watching Iron Man, and yeah. I think in between MCU shows, I think we're going to go back and pick a MCU movie.
I really do like this MCU like Patreon exclusive show.
Yeah.
It really, like, it's just so much fun to do. And then at the end of the month, it's the community voted on it. We're going to be talking about it. Resident Evil 4 on the road to greatness. So thank you all so much. And Kyle, before we square up the news, we have to enter the green room.
Oh boy. I feel like I'm stepping across enemy lines. Don't shoot! Don't shoot the messenger. This comes from our intern himself, Phil Spencer, over at Xbox Wire. Officially welcoming Bethesda to Team Xbox. This is an exciting day for Xbox. Today, we officially complete the acquisition of Zenimax Media, parent company of Bethesda Softworks. It's an honor to welcome the 8 incredibly talented development studios: Bethesda Game Studios, id Software, Zenimax Online Studios, Arcane, Machine Games, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog, and Roundhouse Studios, and their passionate global communities to the Xbox family. Now that everything is official, we can begin working together to deliver more great games to everyone. At every step building toward this moment, I've been inspired and motivated by the creativity, insight, and community-first approach of the talented people at Bethesda. Our goal is to give these teams the best foundation for doing their greatest work and to learn from them as we continue to build Xbox into an inclusive platform for all players. This is the next step in building an industry-leading first-party studios team, a commitment we have to our Xbox community. With the addition of the Bethesda creative teams, gamers should know that Xbox consoles, PC, and Game Pass will be the best place to experience new Bethesda games, including some new titles in the future that will be exclusive to Xbox and PC players. As we shared previously, it's vitally important that Bethesda continues making games the way it always has. We look forward to empowering Bethesda's creative teams to reach even more players around the world, helping make future Bethesda titles the biggest, most popular games in their history. Xbox and Bethesda have long shared a common vision for the future of gaming, both as fans and as creators. Bethesda understands the potential of Xbox Game Pass.
Boy, oh boy. There's a lot here, Kyle. There is a lot here to unpack.
There's a lot.
Everybody, here's the thing. I want to say, from the bottom of my heart, I knew the tides were turning when I saw some people on Twitter go, like, because, like, there was, like, rumblings, right? Like, oh, this is happening. Everybody's like, PlayStation gamers, suck it, you dorks. Mm-hmm. And then there was a select few, like, Xbox insiders I'd like to consider, that were just like, yeah, I think, you know, it's gonna be a great future, but who knows? Like, all of a sudden, like at the final hour, they were just like, it could go either way, and now we see it. Something that I think we both been talking about for, months. Mm-hmm. This is huge repercussions for not just Sony, but for the industry, and that's why we're talking about it here, right? Yeah. So that said, like we want to do all the time, congratulate Microsoft. This is huge.
Absolutely
for them. But here's the thing. All of a sudden, yesterday, people on Twitter became lawyers. And they want to now define what the word "some" means.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people wanted to know what's going on here, Kyle. What is Bethesda a first-party house? Is it going to be Xbox's third-party publishing arm? What do you see out of this letter? What does it read to you?
What it reads to me is kind of what I had a feeling. They say some to lessen the blow, but I think down the road that some will turn into all. I just really don't see. Again, this is a broken record, but I don't see them buying Bethesda and allowing them to be on outside platforms. I think it's a great idea to have exclusives for your own ecosystem, and I laugh and I look at all the people on Twitter saying, "Oh, now exclusives are important." When before you were bashing exclusives because PlayStation had them and Xbox had very few, but now you switch. The tides have turned just because you got all these incredibly talented studios. I find that really funny, but I think it eases me a little bit for the hope. It's giving me maybe a little bit too much room to hope for a future Wolfenstein game or something of that ilk. I just think all the big guns are going to stay on Xbox and Game Pass.
So when you say some, do you think most?
I think most.
You think most?
I think they say it's interesting. I don't know exactly which ones, but I definitely think most will be exclusive.
Like Fallout, Elder Scrolls.
Fallout, Elder Scrolls for sure, Starfield,
Wolfenstein.
Doom. Yeah, I think most will be exclusive.
I think about the quote that the CFO of Xbox gave when talking to investors about the purchase a few months back, and he got a lot of heat for, but it was kind of what we expected when he said something along the similar line here that is said in this post when Phil Spencer says Xbox consoles, PC, and Game Pass will be the best place to experience new Bethesda games. It's not saying only. And that leaves a lot of room for me to say when they're thinking some new titles, I'm thinking any new IP from here on out is an Xbox exclusive. Whatever Arcane's working on next, Xbox exclusive. Whatever is, for me, I think whatever is a non-Elder Scrolls, non-Fallout is going to probably, or non-Doom, or Wolfenstein, I think those are the four that would stay. But the rest of them, that's on the Xbox only. I think the huge games that have these huge established, fan bases, those are the ones that are going to stick around at least for now. But if it was most, I think they would have said most new titles instead of some. And I think the some is the hint that Starfield's definitely going to be an Xbox exclusive.
Which hurts.
Yeah. Does it hurt, Kyle?
That was my most anticipated Bethesda game. Really? I love space games, and if it's a space RPG, I was really looking forward to seeing what it could be. And it's not like it's impossible for me to play this, right? I have Game Pass on my computer. I don't know if it will run it at this point. I don't know if it'll be outdated by the time Starfield comes out, but I enjoy my DualSense. I enjoy my PS5. That's kind of where I want to play my games. Trophies are a big deal to me. As stupid and ancillary as they are, I love them. Also, real quick, why does Resident Evil 4 not have a platinum? I digress. It's real stupid. But yeah, I mean, if it is all those established ones that I love, I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I just want to set up a good old wall there to not be disappointed when most of them are just exclusive and we don't get anything.
I like the way you're approaching it, Kyle. Because a lot of people are like, no, don't do it. And it's just you're like, no, do it. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. But do it.
What am I gonna do? It's say, hey, Microsoft, I'll buy it. I'll buy Bethesda for $1 because that's all I have. How am I gonna change this thing? I'm not.
Bethesda, how much money you need? How much money you need?
What do you got?
Phil Spencer, shut the fuck up. How much money you need? I got $15 right here. How much you? Oh, 17.
Listen, I have a degree in teaching. I can tutor your kids for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Just what do we gotta do?
Yeah. I think, Kyle, you have the healthiest approach to this, because we've seen like a lot of like toxic vitriol of like, Bethesda's not really that good anyway.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sore losers. That's what I
Right.
call those people.
Yeah, and like I've kept the same energy of like, yeah, Bethesda isn't my jam, but like this is huge for them. Like I love a good Doom. Give me the opportunity to punch a Nazi, I'll take it. Like, those games are great. I'm not going to diminish Bethesda by trying to do like, which Sony, publisher or studio rather is better than Bethesda. Probably all of them. I've seen those types of comments. It just irks me. It's like, let someone have a win here. And I think, I mean, one of the main reasons why they probably say some is because like, I think the one thing that's been echoed a lot is case by case basis, and I think this is going to be a case by case basis. And I think it's really awesome of Phil to say, hey, for the time being, some, but I'm totally right there with you, Kyle. I think we are on borrowed time. I think eventually this is going to trickle out and just be just Xbox, and I'm fine with that. Because what you said, I love my DualSense. There are experiences here that I absolutely love. I can't get a Ghost of Tsushima anywhere else, or a Bloodborne at this point in time. So, like, yeah, I like the experiences here, and I don't have to compensate by trying to have this scale. It's awesome to see that Xbox has something different than what PlayStation's offering, and vice versa, and they're both talent. So, awesome.
Yeah. And for anyone that's upset with this whole, like, Xbox consoles, PC, and Game Pass will be the best place to experience Bethesda games. Hasn't that always been the case? Haven't all Bethesda games not run all that well on PlayStation consoles, and they seem to run better on Xbox anyway?
Looking at you, Skyrim, eating all the fucking saves.
Absolutely. And to go back to like the people who are doing that whole like beating their chest and trying to be alpha males about like, oh, Bethesda's not all that great anyway. They're stupid. They're bad. Whatever. Like, just appreciate video games. It's magical that these things are a thing that can happen, and people are skilled and talented, and we have this technology to be able to be whisked away into these worlds. Like, sit down, just realize just how grateful we should be that we are living in this time, and we're not in the 1400s where we have to worry about simple disease. Well, that's too close to home. I was about to say that's way too close to home.
I got you. I'll get you through this one. You got to play stick in a hoop.
Thank you.
I got you.
Stick in the hoop.
Here's the thing. Nerd guy Steve writes in. Okay, and he had two great questions. He's like, choose one of them. I'm like, I'm choosing both of them, Steve. He writes in via our Discord server, which you should definitely try out. We're fun people here. He says, or asks, for those of who only play on PlayStation and don't have a PC/Xbox, are they still in a better position now in regards to Bethesda games than before the acquisition? Going forward, PlayStation gamers will still get to play some new Bethesda titles backed by Microsoft's resources, but they'll miss out on some as well. Does that result in a net positive? In my opinion, it's probably too early to tell, and we'll need to see which games are exclusive. Are you in the same thought process here as well? It's like too early to tell.
I'm on Steve's side here. It's still too early to tell. I think those comparisons are probably going to start way too early when it comes to like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, just because those games were close to being done anyway before this deal was even a thing. So I don't think they should be looped into that kind of conversation. But it's still too early to tell which ones are exclusive and which ones we're not going to get over here on our side.
Do you think it's going to be like a constant, like, do you think we'll get that line in the sand of like, here's the games that are sticking around, like Elder Scrolls Fallout, we don't want to abandon you fans, but new games going forward? Like, are we going to get that announcement of like, that's what it is? Or do you think it's going to be, with every game announcement, hey gang, it's Xbox exclusive, or hey gang, it's multi-plat? I would think you'd have to draw the line in the sand at some point.
Personally, I would love the line drawn.
Yeah.
I would love to know which experiences are only going to be on Xbox and which ones I'll still be able to play on my PlayStation. In reality, I don't think they're going to do that. I think every game announcement will come with because that will create a moment, right? Like whatever the Xbox E3 show will be, that's a moment when Fallout or Elder Scrolls come and says Xbox exclusive. Like that's a moment.
Yeah.
That's like a bombshell. If you do the draw on the line and kind of have a thing months in advance and going forward, like every Fallout's on Xbox, every Elder Scrolls, it lacks that punch when it does happen. And I think those punches are probably a win for Xbox as far as like marketing goes and selling systems and whatnot and services.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing here as well. I've seen an argument, and I kind of align with it a bit, where it's like, hey, gang, look, the biggest exclusive that Microsoft has is Game Pass. The service is just too good. There's no arguments. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? Game Pass is a terrific service. I wish we had it here, but we don't. And the best thing that Microsoft can say to them is that, to us even, is just like, hey, you can buy your Bethesda games for, $60, $70, but they're gonna just, they're never gonna go on sale. They'll be that 60, 70, or you just come over here and the water's fine. It's $9.99. It's $14.99. Take your pick. Come, and you got this whole catalog of games you've never played before. What's a Halo? Who knows? Right?
Why is this Chief the Master one?
Exactly. Why did Joe misspell his name to Chef like all the time? That was early.
Why do these guns have chainsaws on the end?
Yes, it didn't even make sense in the lore why they did it, but they did. So yeah, to me, that's I think one of the biggest positives is day one sales of these games, at least for the huge ones, still matter, right? Elder Scrolls, Fallout, they have such a big audience to them that, yeah, I think it is a good idea for Xbox, if these games are coming out for years anyway, sitting back and going, okay, let's see how these consoles play out. And let's see, where the market hits. Because usually a grand majority of them, at least when this was a PlayStation 4 era, guess what? Software sales, majoritively was going to go to the PlayStation end anyway. So I think, Microsoft's kind of sitting back, looking where things are going. There's a huge motorcycle going past my house.
I hear it.
That's the most annoying thing in the world. And it literally was like, how long was that drag race? 15 minutes while I was trying to make a thought. Jesus. Anyway, that's the Sony PR team. Go shut up, Joe. But yeah, honestly, I think that's the best way to go if you're Microsoft. Just kind of seeing where things are falling and expanding Game Pass to the PC audience, because that's who you really care about at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's all I got for this. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about when it comes to this Bethesda purchase?
Just I applaud Team Xbox for going out there and buying all these wonderful studios. Mm-hmm. I wish that money was spent differently, but I'm not in charge, so I can't tell you how to spend your money. Mm-hmm. It's a big win for everyone on the Game Pass system, though, because those games are high quality experiences, and if you're going to get them all day and date, fantastic.
Last question here, Kyle.
Yeah.
As it popped in my head. This is a reactionary industry, right? We're sitting back. We're armchair businessmen.
Yeah.
I'm Sony. Does Papa Sony actually need to respond? Or does Papa Sony need to sit back in his long chair and just let our studios do the talking here?
Absolutely.
Do you think we need to go out there on a spending spree? We just look at our portfolio going, we ain't got no RPGs now?
No. Absolutely not. I think it's sit back, let the studios do the talking. We have a long track record of fantastic experiences here. Go. Just go.
But Kyle,
do your thing.
Xbox now has more studios than us.
Okay.
But it's at least 4 or 5 of them. Maybe even 7. Now I'm thinking about it. You know what that means, Kyle?
What?
That's 2 or 3 more games a year. And they're not done buying games or studios, Kyle.
Whew. It's a scary
What are you talking about? We need to match that number, Kyle. This is how business works, I've heard.
No, we don't. With games getting more expensive, I don't need more games being put out for me to spend my money on. I'm already broke. Don't put me in the ground. It's too early. I got a lot more life left in me.
So you're saying that Sony, you don't need to do anything. You're fine.
I think Papa Sony is totally fine. Just sit back, relax, let the chips fall when they do.
Do you think they're at least a little nervous? They're looking at this huge conglomerate way bigger than them, making purchases they can only dream of making.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't worry you?
I'm sure there's probably a little bit of worry in there, but I'll still rest on my laurels and know what we got and be proud of what we have. And if a studio makes sense to being brought up, fine, do it. I
say send the hounds to hell, Kyle.
I know what you're doing.
Rain hellfire, Kyle. Let's buy out an EA. I'm a businessman now. This is how it works.
Oh, no, man.
I still go with the theory that, like, if you have a really terrific relationship with your studios, it doesn't really matter how many you got. Mm-hmm. And if you've built a trust between you and another studio so much so that you could see a potential, future partnership, I think you take a look at, like, Insomniac. I think Insomniac went in on Sony's deal because of the success of Spider-Man. And so, like, I would love to see them go out there and make some, some big energy purchases. Like, look, I'm me. I would love them to go out there, buy a From Software, make all the Bloodborne 3s and 4s and 8s. I'm skipping 2 because we're on to bigger and better things.
What up, Blue Point? Come join the team. Hell yeah. I'm down.
Exactly. And I think Bluepoint's the perfect example, even Housemarque the best one, because these are companies that have very deep relationships with PlayStation, work well with each other. I want to see that type of relationship, not just like we're going to buy 8 studios today because I am bored and my name's THQ. Yeah. That's what I want to see. And it's what I'm seeing with Microsoft as well. Like, this purchase makes sense. It's... Mm-hmm. They have a terrific partnership, or had a terrific partnership before all this. So, yeah, it could be, as little as Bethesda will still put their, VR games on Sony's platform and that's it. Or it could be as big as, Elder Scrolls being on PlayStation as well. But I think only time will tell. I do think, though, PlayStation does have to look at their portfolio and go, okay, we don't have shooters. We don't have some RPGs that we once did. We could take a look at these again. That's what I definitely think.
Before the green glow closes in the green room as the door shuts behind us, are you worried, or would you be concerned that Microsoft tells these studios to stop making certain titles and make what they want to make? So, like, my example I saw online a lot on Twitter was telling Obsidian to not continue with Avowed and work with, which I hate. Please, Avowed is one of my most hyped, most look forward to game from Xbox. Like, having them stop and make a new Vegas 2 or something. Like, are you worried about that kind of?
I'm going to say this. I saw that Ryan McCaffrey thread. Same as you. I'm going to call you out, Ryan. You're a great man, smart genius. Absolutely no. I think you get weird games like Grounded out of Microsoft because of Game Pass. I think, we don't even know what truly Avowed is because it's a CG trailer. But even if it is just a rip-off Elder Scrolls, it's still off the Pillars of Eternity mythos. So I want to see that game. I don't think any developer is being told what to do. In fact, I think they're going to get they're getting allowance to do crazier things. So, like, Tango Gameworks is a great example of, like, they put out these 2 games that under-delivered, and now they got Ghostwire Tokyo, and, that game doesn't look great to me. I know Nasty Boots is like, but the creator of, he's not directing this game. He has not directed it since Evil Within. So, I think they get to be on life support a little bit more because of this deal. Because, Phil Spencer could go, hey, this is a Japanese studio, go make some interesting titles. And so I think that's that's important for Microsoft and Microsoft fans. Every time I talk to Microsoft fans, they want something, bigger in terms of like a Japanese presence. So like that, I think it gives them great allowance. I think Arcane, another studio that has critically successful games but commercially underdeliver. Prey, Dishonored 2, unfortunately, which is an amazing game. Whatchamacallit? Deathloop looks fantastic, but those games also kind of have under-delivered commercially. I bet Phil Spencer's like, I don't care, just make Game Pass stuff.
Sure.
And that's what they're pretty much doing.
Yeah.
Overall, good for everybody.
Yeah.
Bethesda needed money, Microsoft needed studios. They made a baby. Yeah. Now it's time to square up the news, Kyle.
This comes from Rebecca Smith over at PS Lifestyle. Spec Ops: The Line and Star Wars Battlefront 2 writer Walt Williams joins Insomniac Games. Walt Williams, whose previous titles include Spec Ops: The Line and Star Wars Battlefront 2, has joined Insomniac Games as a story lead. The writer confirmed the news on Twitter. Given that Insomniac's only announced title is currently Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which is coming this summer and most likely already has a finished story, it's expected he will be working on a new unannounced game from the studio. Having previously worked for 2K, Williams' writing credits also include Evolve, Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth, BioShock, The Darkness, and Mafia. The writer left 2K Games and AAA game development in 2014 to work on his book, Significant Zero: Heroes, Villains, and the Fight for Art and Soul in Video Games. The title offered a behind-the-scenes look at how AAA games were made. He then returned to the scene as a freelance writer, and his most recent work is Star Wars Squadrons. Just prior to joining Insomniac, he's also recently worked on an unannounced VR game and an unannounced AAA game, both as a writer. Insomniac Games has a few titles in development right now, as well as a team supporting Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. A sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man has been rumored to be in development since 2019.
Kyle,
yes,
I
Joe?
want to blow your mind.
Yes, Joe, please
I
do.
want to take you to the pearly gates and show you God's face, Kyle.
I'm ready.
We saw the lead designer, the lead over at The Initiative, leave that studio, join Insomniac Games, right? As I believe the principal designer of this future title that they're working on. Mm-hmm. Okay? You now have this writer, known for a lot of first-person shooter stuff, like BioShock, like The Darkness, Mafia as well. What do you feel here? Does this spell to you resistance? Because the lead of Initiative...
Let the lights shine down above me. This won't work for audio listeners, but video listeners, I just turned on my very bright ring light. It's resistance. It's here. It's absolutely resistance.
Are you that sure?
I am 100% fully confident it's resistance. The absolute opposite of what I was trying to do with the Bethesda stuff.
Yeah.
I am all in. It is Resistance 4 or I'm rioting. There's no way that Insomniac keeps hinting and showing Throwback Thursday tweets of Chimera and Resistance screenshots for them not to be internally working on a sequel.
Weapon Wednesday was Resistance.
There's no way it's not a new Resistance game, and I am here for it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Take a step back. You seem very confident.
I'm extremely confident.
Now, we know that Insomniac has multiple studios. Obviously, you had a team working on Spider-Man while they were working on Miles as well, or right after Miles. We know that they have a lot of VR teams as well. What do you feel like this Resistance game is going to be? Is this going to be a revival? Like this is like Resistance 1, this is Resistance Fall of Man, total reboot. Or are we getting some type of Resistance soft reboot that's of Resistance 4?
Like a revival kind of thing?
Just like Resistance or something. I don't know.
I would love a full-on sequel. Resistance 4. Unless you just rework the entire story from 1, I don't think you need to touch 1. Like, the story isn't great in 1. or 2
Okay.
rather. Like 3 is the gold standard when it comes to Resistance
Is the
games.
pinnacle?
Yeah, and if they remake 1, the story is not going to be great at all. But I want them to continue what they did with 3, and have characters that you can identify with, and it's easy to root for, and that's what I want. Whether or not I want a Resistance VR game, because that is possible. Like you said, Insomniac is working on VR stuff. That would make me a little bit upset.
Why?
I mean, we love VR here. I love my PSVR. The only reason I don't hook it up is because the wires. They're a little too much. But I don't want to play a full-on shooter with a headset on. Yeah, I don't.
But what if this headset's like it's like you entered the DeLorean. You like it's
the Ready Player One. I'm in the game.
Yeah.
If that's the case, fine. But
what if they put like this little dongle in your head and you're the Matrix?
Oh man, I'm in. I'll never come out.
Exactly. No, for me, I kind of lean on this being a VR game. They talked about VR. They talked, a few weeks back. They talked about how there's dev kits already coming out to studios. And seeing how there are multiple studios in Insomniac doing VR stuff, it does make sense to me that what better way of selling this headset than putting on or reviving a classic that is, that is a cult classic to y'all. Y'all really seem to love that game, not me. But like at the same exact time, you have one of the tour de force when it comes to studios, it seems, at PlayStation, and selling this headset on top of it. Like, I think that makes a little sense.
I go back to the conversation we just had with Bethesda and how you were like, if I was Sony, I would be like, where are my shooters? Where are my RPGs? So if Insomniac is going to make a shooter, I think putting that barrier of another couple $100 headset on top of that might be a little bit too much.
You make it, because I'm really thinking like this is a Half-Life Alyx for them. Where like, let's just say like your hybrid chimera, and like you have this ability with your left hand to like take ammo, weapons, or items and like reload your weapon with it that way. That's how I'm thinking in my head.
I mean, would that be cool? Absolutely, it would. But I tend to agree with you that Sony needs a couple like standout shooters. We haven't had like an exclusive shooter in forever, since the start of PS4 with Killzone. I think bringing Insomniac back, bringing Resistance back, would answer that, and I think that would be a great title to have in the library of an exclusive shooter back on PlayStation.
Son of a bitch, I'm in. No, I do. What if it's both? Why not both, Kyle?
It could be both.
Resistance 3, you had the move controller element. My brother loved that.
That's right.
He couldn't get enough of it, and you could play it with or without the VR headset. So that eliminates that. And at the same exact time, you could still have the multiplayer component. Holy shit, I'm getting jazzed for this game, Kyle.
Woo! Jazz fingers.
Jazz hands. That's how excited I am. Wouldn't that be cool? And then you can say, hey, we can have VR games that are in the same space as this. That's why, I got to remember his name because it's very weird. I have like the lead designer of Drew Murray there. He wants to do new and special things, right? You have to give them that carrot on the stick of why leave the initiative where you just rebooted Perfect Dark and just have them leave. Something had to excite them there.
Sure.
It makes sense. It's cool.
It certainly does.
It makes me excited. This makes me excited.
Yeah.
But Nerd Guy Steve then writes again. Again, he had two just killer questions here. Assuming we get a Resistance reboot, do they bother to include a multiplayer component? We're
well past.
Okay, there you go. The shoehorned we're past the shoehorned multiplayer every game, but it was reasonably a big part of the OG games in the series. Not sure if this is the property where Sony would catch fire with the return of an FPS multiplayer, though?
I think there probably will have a multiplayer component here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the OG ones, sure, they were a little bit bland and kind of basic, but I did have fun with 2 in particular. I think it could work. I think the reason why a multiplayer game would work is similar to kind of like why, in some ways, I dig playing Halo with friends when I was back in the day, because of the weapons, the cool weapons, and I think that's
what was your favorite Halo weapon?
The Needler.
Fucking Needler.
Because that's the one I would annoy people with. And
honestly,
yes, before
you look
people,
like a Needler player, you son of a gun.
And before people say that, when I say I've never played a Halo game, I mean story-wise. I've, of course, played multiplayer at friend's house late into the night. Right. Yeah,
Halo 1, Halo 2, what are we talking here?
I think 2.
And you chose Needler over the BR, is what you're telling me.
Hell yeah, man.
Jesus Christ.
It's got cool colors.
And to bring it back to Resistance, what's your favorite Resistance gun here?
Oh, the Auger.
Okay.
Easy.
What's the Auger? Tell me.
The Auger is a sort of like a sniper rifle of sorts.
Okay.
Where it can see enemies through walls, and you can shoot enemies through walls when you have the scope down.
That sounds dope as shit.
Yeah.
Resistance
Bullseye's cool too, where you can tag enemies and the bullets will follow the tag no matter where you aim.
I always wanted to get it. I wanted to get into Resistance 3 because it broke away from the "we're trying to be Halo" thing that I always kind of felt like
that was the big issue.
That.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, like, to me, when I heard like this is the true Halo killer, I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, I'm done. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll play the real deal. So, like, for me, I would love a revival of this. I would love to see them have a multiplayer component for sure. I think that's why you have these big first-person, shooters to begin with, right? So, to me, I think multiplayer is an essential part of the this game for sure. That said, Famous Seamus writes in, and the most famous Seamus, might add, you may think you know the most famous Seamus. That's bullshit. We do. If there is a resistance revival, what improvements would you like to see in the game? What is like the 2 or 3 biggest sticking points to this game that you would like to see them do? Because I know, like, for me, health was always something in that game. You had like health packs and then you didn't. Whatever. Stick to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Find a system, stick to it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No more health packs.
I don't know the way around it, but this is an issue I think with most first-person shooter games is I want the level design to be more surprising.
Okay.
Where, like, if you get to an area and it seems big and you can clearly see, oh, there's cover. Oh, I can run in there. There's going to be a boss fight, hop over there. Have it be more in your face, like, oh, big fight coming. I want to be surprised with those kind of moments with the level design.
I think that is one of the biggest things with a good first-person shooter. I think music and the way the gunfights play out. Like, yeah, you'll be like, okay, this is a hallway. I see this room. That's a fight. That's a hallway. That's a room. You have to really diversify them hallways. And I think with the PlayStation 5 and having the fast SSD and reinventing the way games are made, I think the judgy voice. But, like, I think that is something that I think Insomniac would be more than prepared to tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I want the collectibles to be a little bit more fun to get.
Okay.
Resistance 3, I remember there being... Again, it's always a file in a manila envelope. It's always
How about this? Just get rid of them. We don't need them.
No, I like gathering collectibles in games.
All right, okay.
So I want relics of, like, the relics of the old world, pre-war. Like, you collect things like that.
Okay.
I want actual, like, thought put into it and not just like here's a file of this person that's missing, which sure it's cool, but I like grabbing relics, kind of like the Spider-Man relics.
Yeah.
the backpacks around the city. Like, those are little cool little trinkets that you love getting.
Yeah. I think like when you do them right, it's BioShock, where like you pick up these recordings, it's playing through the controller, and then when you're doing it wrong, I think it is like a Killzone Shadowfall. It's like, this just feels like a gimmick type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those are two awesome improvements. Honestly, as much as I would like to see this be I would love to see a multiplayer shooter on PlayStation. Something does tell me, the back of my mind, it's screaming at me, PSVR 2. But with that, Kyle, let's talk about economics.
Oh God, the only class I failed in college, and I had to take it twice.
Never even took it once.
It's not great.
Go for it.
Eddie McCooch over at GameSpot writes, Last of Us Dev is hiring an economy designer for a multiplayer game with live service elements. The Last of Us developer Naughty Dog is hiring an economy designer to help the team with a multiplayer game that includes live operations and player progression. The job ad states that the successful candidate will help Naughty Dog create avenues for self-expression for our players, ensure robust longevity to our games, and give our players great rewards to strive for. This all sounds like Naughty Dog is working on a new multiplayer game with cosmetics that players can unlock to personalize their characters. Naughty Dog confirmed more than a year ago that it's working on a standalone Last of Us multiplayer game. However, Naughty Dog has kept very quiet about this in recent months. Naughty Dog confirmed more than a year ago it's working on a standalone Last of Us multiplayer game. However, okay, that's just copy and paste twice. That's my bad. Beyond the new Last of Us multiplayer game, Naughty Dog has no announced projects. However, Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann has teased that the studio might make The Last of Us 3 or a new IP. Quote, the next thing could be a part 3. The next thing could be some new IP, end quote, he said in an interview.
Kyle.
New IP, please, Neil.
Oh, this is what I was going to say. Eli Gatto writes in via Twitter. And they ask, what do you want Naughty Dog's mystery project to be? Do you think it's a new IP?
I want it to be new. As
Factions?
Factions? Well, Factions is definitely happening. Mm-hmm. I want a new IP as much as I love The Last of Us Part 1 and 2. One of my favorite franchises, if not my favorite, of the past decade or so. Sure. I don't... Said it after the first game. I don't need another part. I'm happy with the way the story is told. I don't need it. Will it eventually happen? Of course it will. Mm-hmm. But I don't need it. I'm happy with where we are. I want a new IP. I want to see Naughty Dog flex some other things. I want them to go to space, ideally. Wow. I want them to make a space game. In
space?
I love space games.
Okay, so do you think that Factions has been scrapped? Do you think this economist, this, I don't know, New York Times looking fool,
the guy that would hit the bullhorn on C-SPAN or CNET or whatever?
Sure.
Big buy. What, Jim Cramer, I think was his name, where you press the button and a bullhorn would go off? Never mind. That was I dated myself.
No, I get it. I think his name is Mike Kramer. I think it's Mike Kramer, the Mad Dog or something like that.
Mike the Mad Dog is a sports broadcaster.
Sports and economy. Why not?
And we'll be the show.
Oh, look at you.
Come on. I'm so ready. No, Factions is definitely still coming. And I think this, looking for someone to work on an economy, is for Factions. Whatever the name, whether it's going to be Last of Us Factions, whether it's going to be a new name entirely.
Do you think this is what they throw into whatever the PS5 version is and charges $70 for?
Yeah. No, well, no, because it's they said it was a standalone game.
Oh, so you think it's just like, fuck it, it's its own thing.
It's its own thing. Because Naughty Dog confirmed, it's right here, more than a year ago, it's standalone Last of Us multiplayer game.
But I always thought when they standalone, I just assumed that it was like after the game's release, here's this thing, it's going to be part of the game.
Kind of like Lost Legacy in Uncharted.
Kind of like, yeah.
Sure, I guess. I'm pretty sure it's going to be its own thing, because I don't think they'll tie it to Last of Us 2, like a complete Game of the Year edition kind of thing.
I think they're definitely going to tie it to part 2. Because for me, and stick with me here, man, for me, I'm thinking of how do you sell this multiplayer game? You can't just go multiplayer Last of Us, drop it, and expect people to pay real money for it.
I think you can.
Really?
I think how great Factions is and how much people love Factions from the first one. You can just say like, here it is, new, better than ever, and people will buy it. No problems asked.
I think they'll be like, if you own the PlayStation 4 version of the game, it's here. If you have the PlayStation game, it's already upgraded. Just go in and play it, and you have that initial burst of people. Because I feel like if you charge people for it, it does kind of feel like you're nickel and diming people off the gate. Like, I think you're hiring an economist here. I do think this is a free to play-ish experience, and I think the thing that gets them in the door is a copy of The Last of Us. And I think the thing that keeps them there is whatever that progression train looks like.
I mean, I get that, but there were cosmetic stuff in the first Factions.
There was. They weren't handled great either.
No, they weren't. Including like actual guns that are a little bit game breaking that were behind a paywall, which was not great. But I don't think they're going to tie it to the game because when they confirmed this, it was in a thing like, hey, we were working on it, but as we were doing it and tying to part 2, it was too big. So it has to be its own thing. So that's where I'm leaning towards. It's not going to be tied and be a free update. I think it'll be like a $40 multiplayer thing.
Oof.
I don't think that's an oof.
I think in the realm of a Fortnite Warzone, talk about big things, this thing is like 100+ gigs. Like, I don't think you can charge people for just a multiplayer component anymore.
I mean, that is fair.
Maybe Overwatch is the only example where it's like you could, but like even then, Overwatch is facing its own troubles as well of like getting that community back into that game. So,
sure.
And as they say that, I'm defeating my point again by giving you more ammo. We're going Rainbow Six, but Rainbow Six often goes on sale as well. So like, to me, it's just multiplayer is such a crowded market. You need to make it as accessible as possible so that you could get more people in, so that you could get them on that battle pass.
Sure,
that's what I'm thinking.
All right. I mean, I'm fine with it being free to play because I'll tell you what, Joe. When this thing hits, me and you are playing all the time.
Oh, and what?
I love Factions. That is the one multiplayer game aside from Rocket League that I will play nonstop. I had such a great time last year playing it.
So what about this thing we haven't even thought about? What if it joins the PlayStation Plus collection?
Ooh.
It's in PlayStation Plus. You're paying that fee for it, and you have all these other games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it might be a PlayStation Plus game. I was thinking it would... When you said collection, I thought it was getting added to like the PS4 game collection kind of thing.
That's what I'm saying as well.
Oh,
sure. This is the initial game because that's what made the first Last of Us so. The tail on that game last so long was it was bundled with so many PS4s, and so you had so many people just playing the multiplayer component and falling in love with the multiplayer component. And that's why the community lasted so long there. Mm-hmm. No pun intended for the last thing. But yeah, interesting to see. Do you think it's this year, Kyle?
Oh, man. I would like to think so.
Okay.
Because they said, 20... I think that news was 2019?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 years to work on it when they're already working on it. I could see it maybe being at the earliest later this year.
Okay. That's the thing that goes up against Infinite. Who knows?
I think maybe it will come out around the same time when we get like the PS5 version of Part 2.
Okay, fair. With that, you know what I love, Kyle? Cracking down on cheaters. This next story gets me.
Do we want to get to Eli's question? Did we ask Eli's question?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
What do you want? You said space.
Oh yeah, I want that. Yeah. I want that space game. Because what Naughty Dog loves to do is provide little hints at what their next games are and the games you're playing. And I think this hint maybe was really big. The whole space scene in part 2 could be a hint of them going beyond the stars. We're
getting Turok from them. It's the dinosaurs.
I either want space or definitely not Turok or dinosaurs or like a Mission Impossible style movie, like a spy Naughty Dog thing.
Nah, if we're doing the museum thing, like we're referencing, it's dinosaurs. We're riding dinosaurs. We're gonna give Ark a run for its money. Yeah,
I was about to say, are talking dinosaurs? Are we a Never-Ending Story Naughty Dog version?
Nope, we're riding them like the horses.
Fair enough.
How I'm selling that? No enthusiasm. Yeah, we're throwing spears. We're foraging.
Did you hear the rumors about the Naughty Dog Mystery Project?
No, tell me.
Somebody, I think on some forum somewhere. It even had a title, and the title is leaving my brain. It is a VR space game from Naughty Dog.
Space.
It is
Final
space.
Frontier.
Star Trek.
Star Trek. Knew it. Well, they already got a Star Trek VR game. That's by Ubisoft.
Oh, that's
okay.
right.
What if it's both? Space dinosaurs.
I'm in.
I'm on a roll, dude.
I'm in.
Roll. Yeah. I just want to see how the helmets fit.
In space, nobody can hear you roar.
I'm just trying to, I'm picturing a T-Rex trying to put the helmet on his head. What's the one with the long necks?
Brontosaurus?
Yeah. It's like a really small one giant leap for dinosaur kind.
It's Armageddon, but with dinosaurs.
All of a sudden, our friend Sean Capri of the Xbox Drive is in. That's his favorite movie. Let's have the T-Rex voiced by Bruce Willis.
I'm just imagining just a group of dinosaurs picked to go into space to destroy this asteroid.
They're walking in a line, slow-mo.
Yes!
How are they carrying the helmet? Oh, this is great.
God, I want it.
Let's talk about these cheaters, Kyle. Let's talk about how they're being stopped.
Tom Ivan over at VGC writes, De Novo anti-cheat technology is now being offered to PS5 developers. De Novo anti-cheat technology is now available to publishers and developers through the PlayStation 5 tools and middleware program. The technology, which is used to, quote, secure both online gameplay as well as securely reward offline progress, end quote, has been used for over a decade to protect over 2 billion unique game installs across 1,000 PC, console, and mobile titles, according to De Novo. The company also claimed in a press release that De Novo anti-cheat has minimal impact on a user's gameplay experience. Quote, cheating ruins video games for honest players, said De Novo managing director Reinhard Blachowicz. This can lead to lower engagement, game traffic, and shrinking revenues for game publishers. We are really proud to be able to help the world's most talented developers to bring rich experiences for gamers on PlayStation 5, end quote. Sorry, Reinhard, if I got your last name wrong. My bad.
That's fine. He's going to be like, it happens. So I put in this story here just to make cool reference that PlayStation does want to protect you some way, shape, or form against cheaters. How many times am I playing Fortnite and all of a sudden someone builds a goddamn Taj Mahal? It don't feel fair at all to me, man. But it's cool because the one thing that we are running into a lot when it comes to cross-platform play is, running into people that it just doesn't feel legitimate when you're lost by them. Maybe that's an aimbot or whatnot, but yeah, it's awesome to see. Also, when they say minimal experience, I am picturing when you're about to drop in like Warzone, they're like, "Are you a robot?" And you have to click.
You have to pick...
as you're dropping, it's like pick a fire hydrant. Like, Jesus, try to
click all the
towers. Yeah,
there's traffic lights, and then there's always that one square. Like here, click all the squares that contain a bus, and there's just a little square with a little bit of the roof. Do I click it? Do I not click it? Will I be allowed to pay for something?
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Is he gonna lock me out of my PS5?
You always click that square, by the way. Always.
Always. Even if it's just like the exhaust, you gotta.
Because, spoiler alert, even if you miss one, it gives you another prompt to do. It's fine.
And then you gotta do 8 more. It's like, Jesus, am I the robot? Am I a robot? You start doubting yourself.
That ranks up there where you go to log in. It's like, oh, your password is wrong. And then you go to do a new password, and you type in a new one, and you're like, oh, that password is already in use. Screw you, then, Best Buy. I'm trying to see my account points. How dare you?
You son of a gun. DeVuto, I hope you're taking notes, all right? These are our demands. Kyle, here's the thing. I want to almost end the show on some good, on the most delightful of notes. Musical notes. Let's do this.
Stephen Tailby from Push Square writes, the delightful Astro's Playroom soundtrack will be available on demand later this week. There are many things to like about Astro's Playroom on PlayStation 5. It's a joyous platformer that not only celebrates the DualSense controller, but the whole history of the brand. There's one part of the game that may stick with you once you're done, however. The music. Whether it's the ultra-catchy GPU jungle song or the super synthy beat of SSD Speedway, there's not really a dud in the short but sweet soundtrack. Mm-hmm. Good news, then. The OST is being made available separately on March 12th, 2021. As announced over on the PlayStation blog, the game's music will be ready to go on all the usual stores and services in just a couple of days. If you've been hoping to add these cheerful tunes to your playlist, your time has come.
Kyle.
I'm ready.
Let me tell you something. First off, okay, Spotify, my jam. This song, not enough people know, because so many people, they haven't, listen, they're not on the ivory tower like us, owning PlayStation 5s, being kings, you know what I mean?
It sounds just a tad bit elitist.
Nah.
Oh, look at me and my PlayStation 5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm looking down on everybody. These PS4s, they're so loud. They're so loud. Here, it's silent. I just hear my thoughts, you know? Or I'm hearing the delightful sounds that is Astro's Playroom. And this week, they've been highlighting all the composers of, I think they also did one for Sackboy as well. Because they have,
sweet.
Dude, that soundtrack, I got the Spotify playlist. It's like over 20 songs. So, while I was making the tweet today that we were going to go live and recording, I literally have been playing that song as I was making the tweet out, as I was doing all the show notes. That song was just on loop. What a delightful little tune. Are you excited about this news? You like it?
Love it. Any chance I get to be reminded that the GPU does it all for you on loop, yes, please. Hook it up into my veins. That song is amazing. Astro's Playroom is amazing. Am I gonna replay that whole game? Probably this week. Maybe. That's how much I love that game.
Really?
Yeah, if I have time.
Are you into the speed runs? Are you trying to Jeffrey Grubb's insane fucking
I will never
speed run of 2 seconds?
Ever beat Jeffrey Grubb. Ever. I'm not that good. I've tried.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things that Astro's Playroom does, though, and I hope this is a thing that happens with other games. But the little notification that pops up, so and so just beat your time. Would you like to reclaim your lead? And then you can click a button and be hopped right back into the game.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's super cool. It's also
give me a Pac-Man game that takes advantage of that, and I'm gone. I will never record
so
with
much
you.
About you.
I love Pac-Man. I love Pac-Man.
What about Mrs. Pac-Man?
I 100%ed Pac-Man Championship DX2, I think, on PlayStation. I got all those hard challenges done.
Oh my god. What about Mrs. Pac-Man? She's insatiable.
She sure is.
Sexiest video game character. Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference, y'all. So, yeah, no. Also, the one thing, we were talking about the bad news of Japan's studio being consolidated into what is now just Team Asobi. Or Asobo, right?
Asobi.
Asobi, cool. It's awesome to see with this blog post, they really know what they got here with Astros. I think they know the broad reception of this game is incredibly positive, that we're going to be seeing a lot more of it as well. And I think that could be the silver lining that I think some of us were searching for when the news came in about that.
We got some flash news though today. Some
Yes.
pretty amazing flash news. There is going to be a new side-scrolling beat 'em up Turtles game from the makers of Streets of Rage 4. The studio is Dotemu and Tribute Games, and Nickelodeon all joined forces to announce Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Get ready to kick shell across Manhattan with Leo, Raph, Mikey, and Donnie to defeat the Foot Clan. Like I said, they have made Streets of Rage 4, Windjammers 2, Windjammers, the East games. I believe they've had some help with those.
This trailer slaps something.
Oh my god, trailer is so good. Something I didn't know I needed, but I'm so happy we're getting it.
And when you said Windjammers, like the art style is like, yeah, I could see it. You know what I mean?
Sure, but like, it looks like how I remember the Turtles in Time arcade game, and Turtles Take Manhattan is the other one. I think there's a Manhattan one. I'm gonna look this up because
I think of Turtles in Time, and that's what this definitely brings me down towards. I am so in on this game.
Same.
This game looks so freaking awesome.
Manhattan Project is the one I was thinking of.
Okay. Now,
I would rent that from the video store all the time.
Now, here's the thing. Yeah, it screams like the old SNES, like Power Rangers and Turtles in Time, the X-Men game that we all love. You said something though, and I was like, I'm gonna wait. I gotta wait.
Are you gonna shame me for my choice of Turtles?
Tell everybody your choice in Turtles.
It's Leo. Leo's my favorite.
Listen, I get it, because you're goody two shoes.
If you're about to say Raph, we're done.
Who do you think I am? Who do you think I am?
You're Mikey.
Fuck yes, I'm Mikey.
Yeah, and that's why
Absolutely.
I love you.
Thank you.
Mikey is a solid second or third choice for me.
Okay. For
me, it goes Leo, then Donnie, then Mikey, and Raph at the end.
You would be that. Yep. You would definitely choose Donatello, that's for sure.
No, he's got reach. He's got the bow staff.
I mean, yeah, the bow staff's cool. So Kid me would be Michelangelo for sure. That's just my personality. Then I would go Leonardo because he has a fucking sword. Because I thought Donatello was lame as shit, not because he was good at computers. Great IT guy. But he has a wooden stick, and I'm like, dude, wooden stick versus metal sword? Yeah.
How dumb we were back then.
Exactly. But honestly, Kyle, it's my same logic I'm walking into still to this day. Like, Donatello, good if I need help on my Wi-Fi router, but Leonardo's got a sword. And also, Raph, doesn't do shit with it. He doesn't cut anybody in half. What's he doing? Is the sword blunt? Is it a blunt sword? Sharpen the blade.
So you're saying you had a graphic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game where Leo's just cutting people in half?
Yes.
All right.
I want to see Lim, dude. Are you kidding me? I want to see Raphael impale a dude, put him out like over his head, and just toss him into a pile of guys. You know?
Weren't the turtles in Injustice?
Yes.
How violent were their special moves?
I don't know, but I feel like we're about to find out.
Let's see.
Yeah, I want to know this, but also I do like to see that like the devs from Streets of Rage 4 are making something also iconic on a different level as well. Like Streets of Rage is a cult classic at this point amongst so many gamers, but like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles still resonates with the youth, as I've been told, and also with us that like remember the SNES or going to the arcades and playing these games and playing these beat 'em ups. Like, it's really awesome to see that they got this and we have so much faith in them. Now, Kyle, you've taken a look at, and I've bought you enough time, I hope. These finishers, are they brutal?
All I'm seeing from this one video is just like the stage stuff, but their winning screen is them getting a pizza delivered, which is pretty fantastic.
These turtles and their pizza.
Oh wait, hold on.
Okay.
Nope, that's the opening scene. Never mind. Keep going.
Mm-hmm. All right. With that, listen. While you keep on watching, making sure something gory happens to these turtles, because we got really sadistic towards the end of this show. It's time to hop on the Sony Pony Express. Now you can send your questions. Yeah, you can send your questions over to us over at the PS Trophy Room Twitter. You can send your questions over to the Casa de Trophy Room Discord server, and we answer them as such. With that said, this week we got a couple of really good questions, and this first one comes from Captain Logan over from Twitter, and he asks us this question. We're a few months after the launch of the PlayStation 5. Have you felt the current lineup of games has warranted the $70 price tag compared to most other games on other consoles remaining $60? Kyle, how do you feel so far? I think the only one we've really gotten to see or feel that with is Demon's Souls, right?
Yeah.
Theoretically with Miles too, because it comes with the Spider-Man remaster, which should be free master, but
sure. And like third party stuff as well is also 70. But as far as like PlayStation lineup games,
what game has been 70 though?
NBA, I believe, was 70. 2K was 70 on PS5.
Okay. So
was it Call of Duty 70 or no?
Now that you mention it, yeah, I feel
like
some of them have, some of them haven't.
Yeah, I think it's still a little too early to see if they're warranting the $70 price tag, but as much as I get frustrated at Demon's Souls, that game is only curse of the show, fucking phenomenal. and worth its price.
Yeah, no, like Demon's Souls is possibly the most next-gen game I've experienced so far. And let me tell you, if that's what like next-gen looks like, it feels like, yeah, sure, $70, go for it. Yeah, Demon's Souls was a hell of a lot of fun and worth it. But like, is NBA worth it? I don't even think NBA is usually worth it $60. So to me, I think time will tell, but I'm still not upset at the price tag as long as you're giving me really good quality stuff. I think, again, games going up in value for the first time in like 15 years, I think it just goes to show that games are going to have all different types of price ranges. I think there's going to be a multi-tiered approach, and I think it's going to offer people multiple, avenues to explore whatever options they have. You could go free to play like Fortnite, be successful. You could go completely, $70 price tag with Call of Duty and still do gangbusters, Mm-hmm. Kyle, you see anything cool with these turtles yet?
Yeah. So I found the variations.
Okay.
They're all pretty much the same depending on what turtle you start with, but it goes with whoever you're controlling hitting them with their weapon to start off with. Okay. Mikey comes rolling in on a skateboard, whacks him with a nunchuck. Raph comes jumping in, throws his size, and stabs them in the chest.
Yes, okay.
Mikey kicks the skateboard into the other character's face. Donatello knocks him up into the air, and then they all do like a shell bash combo move. All four of them connect.
Do you see like their skeleton break?
No, there's a little bit of blood that comes out from like the size impalement and the sword and stuff, but it's not as gruesome as I think you want it to be.
Yeah, that's a goddamn shame. Z Child writes, random question, but what is your favorite game from a genre that you typically don't like? This one I would been thinking about all day, Z Child.
What is a game from
a genre you usually don't like?
Oh, this is tough.
I know. Because I'm like, is there a JRPG that I really like? And I think if I could like choose a cheat code here, like Final Fantasy VII might be the first JRPG I genuinely liked and beat it.
I'll give you that.
Okay. Also, I suck at stealth games, but I'm loving Hitman. Like I was telling you before the show, over 100 hours in that game. I dressed up as a clown and shot someone through the chest with a shotgun earlier. It was fantastic.
I don't know if this counts. I'm gonna need the council to decide this. I don't like walking sims very much, but I loved Death Stranding. Like there's some action stuff in there, but for the majority, it's a lot of just delivering things from place to place.
Yeah,
and like old school like strategy games, like
here's the thing: Death Stranding gets shit on way too much. I'll put the fanboy hat back on, Kyle.
I'll join you on this one. I love Death Stranding.
It's a good game, and every time I get I get it. He gets a little bit too full of himself, but like when you take a look and actually just step outside, put the bullshit goggles off for a sec. Yeah, that game's actually a lot of fun for like environmentally, like that. Those environments, nothing like it, and traversing them was actually a ton of fun. And yeah, like the story was a story stupid. Absolutely, it's a Kojima story. But then when you take a look at it outside wise, like having our COVID, experience very much mirrors Death Stranding in a lot of ways. So yeah, I'm with you there, Kyle. I'm with you.
I'm trying to find like another less divisive example.
Okay.
Another genre I don't really like are like life sims.
Okay.
Like an Animal Crossing. Like I played it a lot, but I grew old of it very quickly. But I dig The Sims. I know that's basic. But I enjoy building a house and then taking away all the doors and seeing what happens.
You fucking monster. I knew deep down you're just like me, Kyle.
We all bleed red.
Exactly. Hide Indoors writes, I'm a fan of Bethesda games, but I don't own an Xbox. It is very obvious that this deal will bring many Xbox exclusives that my PlayStation will not have the opportunity to play. If the upcoming Fallout, Wolfenstein, and other major titles are only available through Microsoft going forward, I might be convinced to start convincing myself that I need a Game Pass machine, be it a console or a capable PC. You fine gentlemen are cool and have multiple consoles / capable PCs, but if you did not have these things, is there any franchise that would make you buy an Xbox if it jumped ship from the PlayStation cinematic universe? I like that. Kyle?
Any of them, if I'm totally honest with you. If I had to pick one, if Final Fantasy was an Xbox only thing, I would buy an Xbox.
I would say Bloodborne for the sake of the meme of the show,
Sure.
but I can't even imagine how to play Demon's Souls on an Xbox controller. I've only known that experience on a PlayStation controller. And I think those triggers would just feel wrong to me.
Uncharted would be another one.
I would love to see Last of Us on Xbox. Just because I want to see the people that have been trashing it, the fanboys that have been trashing it for years, actually like take a step back and go, so I like this game now.
I would love a live look-in at them after they hit enter on the tweet and then turn around and press the start button and start replaying the game.
You know that's happened.
Absolutely.
Kyle. A lot of great questions on the show. There's so many other great ones. I know Jedi Master Ren had one that was fantastic as well. It's just I've lost it in here. But that said, we get off the Sony Pony Express to the last segment of the show, and that is what you've been playing. Let's have a nice little cool down moment here, Kyle.
Yeah,
I've been playing Maquette.
Hell yeah, you did. You platinumed it.
I platted it in less than 3 hours, nonetheless.
That's awesome.
And I really like this game, and I think it is a perfect game to be on PlayStation Plus. Like, I think, for me, I'm a big, dumb idiot. So me being able to solve these puzzles proficiently, I think this game definitely is going to, like, scale in that regard. Like, you're going to appreciate it more. I think if you're not as good as puzzles like I am, and you're just there kind of for the story. Whereas, like, I've heard people that are really good at puzzles games go, yeah, this is fine.
Sure.
And I'm like, I can see where you're coming from, but as a big dumb idiot for me, I felt really smart solving some of these puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, though, like, Maquette is very much the Russian egg, analogy you use, where you're in this world that's in a puzzle of a bigger world, that's in a puzzle of a bigger world, and manipulating objects to, turn them various sizes outside your world to go and navigate through. I like those puzzles a lot in Maquette. I think it's a really awesome short experience, but I have to say, I wasn't the biggest fan of the story at the end. I feel like there was a chapter missing that really echoed, the story is about this relationship, the ups, the downs, the redemption of, but I don't feel like there was enough downs to see where that story eventually ends. To me, I would have liked to see an extra chapter there to kind of explain some of the deeper troubles in their relationship when they're outside the honeymoon era. Because to me, I don't feel like they went through enough strife. And I know that sounds like I'm not looking for a marriage story type of experience here. But at the same exact time, I don't feel like the troubles that they went through really kind of, like, not to spoil anything, but like really goes to show like what happens at the end. I didn't feel that effect so much for as I really enjoyed the puzzles. There is one puzzle that everybody complains about. There's one puzzle that's introduced at the very end that you never encounter ever, and you won't encounter ever again. That seems just kind of there to be there. Like they were playing with an idea, and it was on the chopping block, but they had to, do something. They had to put it in for the sake of time or for the sake of pacing. And I wasn't a fan of that, but overall, this is a cute little game. You should definitely, if you're a PlayStation Plus member, go on your phone right now, download it, because it is a easy plat at worst and a really enjoyable afternoon at best. So,
can I ask you a question that was asked of me that I really enjoy about this game?
Who asked you the question?
Mike.
Okay, go for it.
From 61 Indie. He asked me who I was reading. From whose perspective were you reading the dialogue from the game? Because there's dialogue that pops up in the game where it's talking about the relationship between these two people, but it's never implied who is the one narrating.
Oh, through his perspective.
So for me, it was the same thing until there was a certain point where it flipped, and I saw it from her perspective. Yeah.
Huh. Well, was that the same with Mike?
No, Mike read it from her perspective completely.
Through her perspective.
Mick,
that's interesting.
The nanobiologist on Twitter, he reviewed it. He said that he read it from his perspective. So it's interesting that some people are reading it from different sides of the story, which I think
honestly,
is really cool.
When you told me like different perspectives, I didn't even think there was a different perspective.
Yeah.
Like that's just
because it's not implied. Like that's kind of why I dig the story. Because of that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Kyle, what have you been playing, man?
I'm gonna not talk too in depth about Resident Evil 4, but I did play that and beat it over the last couple of days.
Give me like a quick synopsis, quick tweet of it.
I understand why this game is so high on everyone's list when it comes to Resident Evil games, and why the fervor and fever of a remake is exciting. I totally get that now, and I will be with you on the front lines when we see the remake, because I'm genuinely excited for it.
Yeah.
But what doesn't work for me is the story and the writing. It is not great. Not great in the slightest. I don't know if that's how most early Resident Evil games are. I'm probably guessing, a little bit like campy.
Now, this was your first Resident Evil, right?
First one that I've played till completion. I've seen Remake 2 being played on YouTube from start to finish. I've seen Resident Evil 3 Remake from start to finish. I've seen 7. So I've seen those stories, but behind the sticks, this is the first one I've ever played from start to finish. And yeah, the enemies are cool. I think that opening area is dope. I'm excited to dive real deep into it after you play it.
Now, my question for you, Kyle,
Mm-hmm.
is there a fucking guy that chases you around throughout the whole fucking game?
No, but I will tell you there is some terrifying enemies towards the end of the game, and
I expect that.
My God, I was so terrified. They're called Regenerators, and and Iron Maidens. Oh boy,
so are those the people that I should just run from?
You can try.
Oh shit! I like this.
In my experience, I felt like I could not find a way to get around them.
You know, I feel like as we were explaining this, I think survival horror games are my kink. Because you're explaining something I'm dreading, but I'm also like a deep part of me. I'm like, yes, daddy, let's do
There's also an extremely stressful moment in a castle.
Okay.
Where like my heart was pumping. It was.
Are you now excited for Village?
I am. I think within the next few months I will play 7 by myself. Not in VR. I'm not I don't want to die. But I do want to play that and experience 8 along with everybody else. I think it's really cool. But I do want to highlight, I played it from start to finish on PlayStation Now, the Resident Evil 4 HD version, which is the PS3 version of the game, I think. For me, it ran smoothly. The second game within the last few weeks that I have no real issues. I know you were saying how you were having some issues with it.
First 5 minutes, Kyle.
I had nothing. It ran like smooth like butter. It was awesome. So I played that over the last couple days, but I do want to highlight a Nintendo game that's really rad. It's called Genosha.
Guys, settle down. I'm sorry. We heard booing. Boo, Kyle sucks. Hey, whoa. None of that here. Sorry, we reserve hate for Luke and Luke only.
I know why those moves are happening. You didn't take the fanboy hat off. You need to take it off.
Sorry.
Thank you. Genosha is a werewolf / mafia style like group game.
Okay.
Like werewolf's also I think a card game, like a board game where everyone has specific roles and you need to find out who the bad people are, the werewolves or the Genosha in this case, and vote them out. And every loop is like 10 to 15 minutes long. The characters
is this a multiplayer?
Nope. Single player only thing. It's really, really cool. It is visual novel-esque. There's a lot of reading. So if that's not your jam, not for you. But if you enjoy things like the Danganronpa trial scenes in those games, this game is 100% up your alley. It's fantastic. It got a perfect score on Vita in IGN Japan years ago. It was supposed to come to Vita in the States, but they canceled it when the Vita died.
Cowards.
And now it has new life on the Switch, and it's fantastic. Okay.
That's awesome, dude. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And you know what? Technically PlayStation, because it was on the Vita, so you know what?
That's true.
I hear the hat in front of me, the fanboy hat. It is pleased. It is pleased for me, sir. With that, that's been the trophy room this week. Because I don't want to bore you with, I've been playing more Hitman.
And Fortnite.
And Fork Knife. And I'm real good at it, you know? And the best teammate. And a good teammate, by the way. Some people would say I'm a bad teammate, Kyle. Because I make an escape route for us. No one takes it. I'm miles away and everybody else dies. But that's suddenly my fault. Be faster, be better, Luke Lore. Be faster, be better, Kev. God, these kids, on the back. You do so much. You give these people so many wins. How many countless wins do I give to these people? And they're just so selfish, Kyle. They're like, what have you done for me lately? I'm like, I don't know. Provide the most kills, most assists, most damage. Build you a goddamn fort out of the goddamn thin air. I don't see you do that. You know?
I do.
Kyle, today, right before this show, okay, all of them go down. This is a Fortnite vent sesh. All of them go down, Kyle. I have to kill the entire team, pick up their cards, their reboot cards. It's an aspect taken from Apex. I have to revive them, Do I get a thank you from any of them? No. So I had to now, this is what I've had to do, Kyle. I now tell them when I'm doing helpful things to them, and they think these are things that I'm just doing now. I've been doing it since we started this thing. Okay?
So you're like the kid at knowing that birthday or Christmas is coming up, you do extra chores around the house to make sure people are seeing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. It's like I made
Look,
you...
Mom, I'm picking up this piece of trash.
Look, I made you the dinner. I prepared the meal. You want me to fucking eat it for you? It looks like... And then they'll literally go, oh, Joe's being a bad teammate right now. What do you mean? What are you talking about? What are these lies, shenanery? What is this?
Oh, man.
It's. I feel like Michael Jordan, that documentary. Is what I'm talking about. And I took it personally. Kyle, that's been the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. What a terrific episode that's been. Kyle, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Mr. KStep and on PSN. So friend me or send me those friend requests. If you want to catch up on some cool indies, head over to 61indie.com or 61indie on Twitter, on Twitch, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Before Joe takes over, and he'll probably touch on it as well, Joe was very good about celebrating something. Shout out to everyone who 100,000 downloads of this show. Absolutely wild. It's insane. Cannot believe that many people have listened to my voice and your voice talking about this nerdy ass thing, PlayStation. It's humbling. Times, yeah. It's amazing. I love you very much.
Thank you, my mom, for 999,000 of those downloads. I
tried to make my dad download it. He can't figure it out.
Oh, God. Oh, you're killing me here. Yes. Yeah, thank you all so much. It's been 3 years, over 200 episodes, and over 100,000 downloads. And I don't even know visits. Visits? Who knows? I don't even count it. But that said, that's been the Trophy Room. Thank you all so much. It really does help the show as well if you rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, because a lot of people don't understand how much that actually helps us. We've been dancing around the top 100 charts on iTunes forever. Let's push us over that hill. Let's get us to double digits here, because that would be really awesome, and those reviews definitely help. And maybe next week we announce something that maybe incentivizes that. Who knows? Ooh. So with that said, you can follow me over at Mr. Badbit. You can follow the show over at PS Trophy Room. You can find this podcast wherever you find your podcast feeds, and the video version on YouTube. So with all that said, and with all that out of the way, everybody, keep hunting, keep playing PlayStation.